Good morning. Hello, Sylacauga and surrounding areas. This is Daybreak and a little segment, Employment Opportunities. And I'm your host, Randy Clark. And welcome to the show. I'm going to give you a little traffic report this morning. It's a little bit foggy this morning. Traffic's picking up. Keep them windshield wipers on intermediate. And also keep them headlights on dim. Now, today I got a special guest. With me today is Dr. Jonathan Douglas of Broadway Spinal Care. But we're not talking about Broadway Spinal Care today. What we're talking about, we're going to talk about some tennis right here in Sylacauga. And we're also going to talk about a little bit of pickleball.
Let's do it.
Morning, Jonathan.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
I got about three things I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about the explosion at the tennis courts of the Sylacauga tennis team.
Yeah.
And I know you are assistant coach this year. Y'all got it rolling down there. I haven't seen those courts packed in a long time like they are now. Could you tell us a little bit of something? Have y'all already started yet?
We started. We started last week. We had a great match against Leeds. We did not win, but the players learned a lot.
Right.
A lot of our players have never played in any kind of competition.
Right.
And so it's a big deal. It's very different to walk out and not know your opponent and have to figure it out. And they did a really, really good job. And the main thing we asked when they came off was, did you learn something? And they all learned something, and we can build from that. So they have another match today. Yeah, it's what counts. It's all about learning at this stage.
And when's that next tournament?
Next match is today.
Today?
Today, 4 to 6. We're going to be out there again. And those courts were packed with parents and people from Leeds, but it would be great if we saw a bunch of people from the community, too.
Right. We need the community to come out and support this. They're just now building our tennis team. You know, at one time, Sylacauga was known as a tennis city.
They were.
And it's coming back strong. But one of the main questions I got, and then I want you to tell the viewers, the grandmoms and pops and the parents out there, about getting their kids started learning tennis at an early age. They need to start before they get in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
That's right.
They already need to know how to play tennis, the basics and all that. So
absolutely.
What age is the best time to start your kids out playing tennis?
Well, if you can grab them at 4 to 6 years old, that's our best situation. It really is. Tennis is a skill-building sport, and so you have different skills you can build at different developmental stages. And so if you can grab a child, they can pick up the basic movements, or 8 basic movements you have to learn, and then you move on from there. But if you're learning that at a 12, 14, 16-year-old, you can become a good tennis player, but you're not going to be anything like the player you would have been at 4 to 6, 8 years old.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference. They become very natural at the sport, where everybody else that learns it becomes more mechanical at it, because you lose some of that time.
Yes, you do. And I could tell that from the time I was a kid till I just started playing a couple of years ago, of how much you lose. You think you're going to go out there and you're going to be the same?
It's a diminishing skill. So if you're not on the courts, you lose it. You sure do.
But I'm getting it back.
Yep, you are. I've seen it. I've seen flashes of it.
Now, thank you for what y'all doing with the Sylacauga tennis program.
Cindy Cleveland is the one that's doing most of that. I mean, she's kept that thing going, and it's amazing that she's been able to build what she has, and she's got a lot of support now. We're just going to make it better and better.
Right. And who else is helping you assist her?
Ryan Coleman is out there, and Nick Cleveland.
Okay.
Andrew Farr. We've got a lot of people we just got people that kind of come out of the woodwork that are really good players and are just devoting time. These are just volunteers that are out there.
That's what it takes, John.
That's what it takes. It's going to take it if we're going to do it.
Now, next thing I want to talk about, and I'm real excited about this, and this is Sylacauga Rec Tennis. Between you and Steve Masters, y'all are planning some programs for this summer, this spring, to not just teach the kids how to improve their tennis game, but we're also going to have some adult and some senior tennis programs too, right? Could you speak a little bit on that?
That's correct. We have a big plan to start teaching kids at a younger age and have a set system for teaching kids. And so we're going to have parents have a choice between having, do they want a child who can just play tennis for fun, like recreational? Do they have high school ambitions? Or do they have a child that they think has scholarship ambitions? And we're going to try to guide that in some path. We want to have some leagues where kids of a certain age, 10 to 12, just like baseball, come out and they can play together and learn together.
Right.
And then have some tournament environments that are not super competitive but are fun and you learn how to play other people. Right. And then we also want to start getting group lessons for adults and having a shot of the week night and just all kinds of things where people can just drop in and play with others and create a community of tennis players so that we see people out there all the time enjoying the courts again.
Right. And I hate to sound like a broke record, Jonathan, but could you tell our viewers, like I said, what ages they need to start these kids playing tennis, because you need to start at an early age to really be competitive by the time they get to school. Or if their school in our area don't have a tennis program, we're going to have some competitive tournaments coming up this spring and summer, right?
So we're trying to work with schools in the area, and we've started a little bit of that. We're going to start Friday doing some of that, of bringing kids from some private schools and start teaching them how to play tennis at that young age. So I'm going to use that as kind of a pilot program to get it all dialed in, and then I'm going to offer it to everyone where we can have these groups of kids come. Because if you can make kids love tennis, kids have to love sports, and so we can't make it just a beat down and you have to do this drill over and over again. That's not what kids like. They just need to learn the basics and fall in love with being on the court. And if that can happen, then we can have that feed into middle school, and we can have a middle school program, and then we can have kids coming into high school that are not beginners at tennis, that have been playing for years and years and have some tournament experience, and then we're at a completely different level than where we are now. But we're several years away from that, but we're just putting the foundation in place where we can have this. I would really like for Sylacauga to have somewhat of a tennis academy where people know Sylacauga as a tennis town, and they know the kids are being brought up that way, and maybe they send their kids to camps from other places. It would be amazing. We have the facilities and we have the people here to do it. We just need the drive to make it happen, and we're going to make that happen.
We got some good tennis players right here in Sylacauga. And we also need these guys and girls that are, should I use the term ex-tennis players?
They're
come on,
inactive,
help these kids.
Inactive tennis players. How about that?
Come on out there. If they see somebody playing at the courts, they can bring their kids out there, and I'm positive a lot of these folks that's played tennis before are willing to help the younger kids.
Yeah, everybody who loves tennis should be willing to come out and be on a court and love helping the kids. So yeah, I would expect that we'd have volunteers come. As soon as people find out that this is happening, all ex or inactive tennis players should love coming out and just teach one child something. It's amazing.
Right. Well, would you like to speak a minute on your tennis racket and tennis ball?
Yeah, so we've got a comparison. People keep asking, what is a pickleball paddle versus a tennis racket? And they're different. They're very different. Pickleball is kind of an interesting thing. It's really growing. But again, of course, tennis racket, tennis ball, and we were looking at the comparison a little while ago. The wiffle ball is the most similar thing, I guess, to what we're looking at on a pickleball. And so it's a little bigger than a tennis ball, and it does not have any compression. It's just a hard plastic ball. It does not have the bounce. I mean, you have to get used to it. As a tennis player, you expect that bounce, and it just doesn't happen. I mean, it comes off the ground, but not very much.
Not very much.
And so the paddle is hard, and it has no stringing to it, of course. It has a little bit of surface. Not like sandpaper in any way. It's just kind of a little rough, and you can put some spin on the ball, but not a lot. So it's kind of like a ping pong slash racquetball slash volleyball slash tennis situation. It's really interesting. People love pickleball.
Now, speaking of pickleball, I got something I want to talk about this morning.
Okay.
I want to talk about the web page, the Facebook page we got. Sylacauga Pickleball. Would you kind of explain to the folks? And also, I want you to talk a minute about the instructional videos that you've got on there that they can learn from the Sylacauga Pickleball page.
Sure. So we have a page, Sylacauga Tennis Center, also. So if you want any more details on tennis, that's the best way to do that. But Sylacauga Pickleball on Facebook, if you search for that, that has blown up. In 2 weeks, we've gone from 0 to 80 people that are following that on a regular basis. I'm posting videos almost every day, usually every day, of some kind of instructional video, and they're like 5 to 10 minutes, but you can learn so much just from watching it. And so if you watch a few of those videos before you actually come out there, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable. But pickleball is something where you can literally walk on the courts and never have touched a racket.
Right.
And in maybe 20, 30 minutes, you kind of feel comfortable with some of it. And we have beginning groups, and then we have more experienced groups, and so they kind of start breaking out. And then you see the experienced people coming over and helping the beginners, and it's exactly what we wanted it to be. It's a community that's just trying to help everybody get better.
Right. I'm loving it.
I love it too.
I'm loving it.
Yeah,
I
love
love me some Sylacauga pickleball.
I know you do.
And could you tell us, don't forget, go to the Sylacauga pickleball page, and you can see when we're playing, but we have a scheduled night that we meet every night. Could you go
We're going to be meeting Tuesday nights from 6 to 8, but today we've got a high school tennis match. And so if you follow the page, you'll see that might change. We're going to try to keep a certain night, so Tuesday at 6 is our time, because it helps so much for people to be able to schedule things. But high school tennis, of course, takes precedent. I mean, these are tennis courts.
Yeah, we're on the tennis court.
We're on the
tennis
tennis
takes priority over pickleball.
Absolutely.
But we're doing it another night this week. Could you speak on that?
We are. So we're going to try to do it Wednesday night is the plan, and then the weather, weather permitting. Everybody's really excited about pickleball right now and tennis, but the weather's terrible right now. So starting in January is our worst idea ever. So we're having to kind of move things, but stick with us, follow the page, and as this thing gets better, the weather gets better, you're going to see people out there a lot. We want to have 3 or 4 nights. We're going to do it.
Right. And I must say, last Tuesday night, I was so excited. We had 4 pickleball courts slap full. We had a couple of guys that's been playing for a while out helping the ones that's just starting. And we had 4 or 5 people watching us that said they was coming back this week.
I know it.
So it's blowing up.
It's blowing up. It's very easy. When you talk to people about tennis, it seems a little intimidating if they've never done it. But with pickleball, they say, you know what, I'll come out and try that.
Right.
And that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. I was a little bit sore the first couple of times
You're
I
going to
played.
be sore if you haven't done it.
Right, but what I really like about it, it's a low-impact sport. You don't really have to move around that lot. There's no running unless you just want to. There's no running in it. You can stand still most of the time. And we're actually having a blast.
It's very accessible for pretty much anybody, any age and any health. And if you really want to get healthy, boy, it's a great way to do it. It's been shown that you have a 50% decreased chance of heart attacks if you play racket sports. So if there's nothing else that would get you out there, than to think this is going to help your heart because it does exactly what your body wants to do. You sprint a little bit and then you stop, and then you sprint a little bit and you stop, right? Sprint can look different for each person, but I mean there's a fast movement and then there's a stop, and that's what helps the heart the most. So it has so many benefits, and it's just good for people to get out and move.
And it's fun.
And it's fun.
And it's fun. I'm having a blast playing.
Yep, it's great.
Did we cover it all?
I think we got it all.
All right. One more thing before we go. Prayer warriors, I need your prayers this morning. My good friend, he is a veteran. His name is Joe Love, and me and all my friends, we call him Joe Money to all of his friends. We're thinking about you, and we love you, buddy. Thank you, John, for coming in.
Thank you.
And will you come back? Let's talk some more.
I'll come back. We'll talk about high school tennis.
See you next time.